Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Duel the Takes. Make things a little bit competitive, and we're doing a draft-style debate, but we're doing a tournament. This is probably going to be a three-part series. It's going to be Alden versus Jory for round one. At round one, part two, it's going to be Josh versus Nate, and then the finale will be the week after, and that is going to be the winner of each. Josh, you want to explain the rules of this draft challenge as you're the one who created it?
Absolutely. So this is the movie draft. Two teams will go at it for each round. There will be 20 slots the teams have to choose movies from. They get a whole list of films that relates to the topic, and they will take turns drafting each movie until they both reach 20. Now, you want to pick movies based on your own opinion and the critical reception of this movie and other factors. But you also want to take in the opinions of the rest of the panel, because when we're done with each list, we will have both teams give a couple minutes to defend their list if they have some interesting picks that maybe the judges want to explore. But the other two members of the panel are the judges. And if there's a tie, if, for example, I pick Alden's list and Nate picks Jory's list, there will be a tiebreaker where we will ask somebody else which list they think is better.
So for the Jory versus Alden, sequel's better than the original. The pool to pick from are Shrek 2, Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back, T2, Judgment Day, Toy Story 2, Aliens, Evil Dead 2, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Blade Runner 2049, Mad Max Fury Road, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, The Dark Knight Rises, X2, X-Men United, Addams Family Values, Superman 2, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Thor Ragnarok, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Dawn of the Dead, Fast and the Furious 5, or Fast 5, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Kung Fu Panda 2, Spider-Man 2, Skyfall, Batman Returns, Halloween 2018, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, X-Men, Days of Future Past, Neighbors 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Tron Legacy, Kill Bill Volume 2, Men in Black 3, 22 Jump Street, Ice Age The Meltdown, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Toy Story 3, Iron Man 3, Cars 3, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Star Trek Beyond, Gremlins 2, Back to the Future 3, Star Trek Beyond, Jurassic World, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Mad Max 2, Road Warrior, Goldfinger, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, John Wick Chapter 2, and Deadpool 2.
Is Star Trek Beyond supposed to be on here twice?
No.
Let me go! No! Stop! No!
So, Alden, what is your number one draft pick?
He's studying the list. This is big brain energy right now.
After a good consideration, it's obviously Shrek 2.
There it is. Just give us a sentence or two on why.
With Shrek 2, you have Puss in Boots, you have Donkey as a horse, Shrek as a human instead of an ogre, and then you have Fairy Godmother. And of course, Holding Out for a Hero covered by Fairy Godmother.
What is your number one draft pick?
My number one draft pick. This has been a long time coming, especially if you follow the history of the channel. Our first big break, probably our Pixar bracket. I really did this movie dirty, and it is time that I have made my amends. My number one pick is Toy Story 2. Every emotional gut punch that they have can trace its origins back to Jesse's backstory. Every third act villain can trace its origins back to Stinky Pete. I think that Toy Story 2 is fantastic, and I have no idea how I could be so blind.
All right, so 2 animated movies for the first 2 picks. My expectations have been subverted.
I think that the cases made, I think, are very valid on both ends. I want to sway with my bias and say that Toy Story 2 is the better movie, but we've got 19 more picks to go.
My next one is actually The Dark Knight. We just talked about this in the Batman one, but honestly, Batman Begins isn't great, and The Dark Knight is just regarded as one of the best movies, period.
I think Nate has been quoted a couple of times on this podcast now, saying The Dark Knight is the godfather of this generation.
Without a doubt.
Speaking of the godfather of this current generation, my number 2 pick is going to be something that I really should have picked as number 1, because I do consider it to be perhaps the greatest sequel of all time, The Godfather Part 2. The Godfather Part 2 not only succeeds at being a fantastic sequel, but also a fantastic prequel. I think that every sequel to any movie should look at how The Godfather Part 2 expands the story.
Godfather 1 came out 2 years before, won Best Picture. Godfather 2 came out 2 years later and also won Best Picture.
I think if me and you were going at it in this round, Nate, this would have been our individual first picks.
Yeah, but draft spot 2 is a respectable choice.
Absolutely. That's kind of the beauty of the draft. Somebody could steal a movie that you're about to say, since we're going back and forth.
What is your number 3?
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I have multiple friends who say their favorite movie is Mad Max Fury Road, who have never met each other, do not have similar personalities in the slightest, and it's an incredible movie.
I respect that. Jory, what's your number 3 draft pick?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I think Terminator 2, we've discussed on this channel before, is the concept of the original Terminator taken almost as far as it can go. I still don't think that we've seen any movie in the franchise do better.
So, Alden, back to, what is this, the number 4 pick?
Number 4 pick.
Here we go.
I feel like this one might be a little surprising, but Skyfall. But of the ones I've seen, Skyfall is just by far the best, and compared to the original, it's better. And I just, there's no other Bond movie I can go back and just watch again but Skyfall.
Jory, with your number 4.
My number 4 is going to be Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, it's the greatest sci-fi movie of all time.
Definitely was excited. This movie always looked good from all of the trailers and development stuff. There was always the worry, though, that it wouldn't quite live up to the legend that was Blade Runner 1, such like a titan of sci-fi as a genre, really. The movie finally came out and we finally got it. I ended up enjoying it almost as much as the original as far as the questions that it posed about AI. And I think that it's even better that it managed to live up to the impossible expectations that were set for it.
All right, so Batman Returns.
You mean number 6 on our DC movie?
It was my number 1.
It was all 3 of you guys' number 1.
Yeah, it was.
What a mess.
That episode is straight up wild. All right, Jory, what's your numero 5?
I want Spider-Man 2 on my team. Better than the original Spider-Man in a lot of ways. If you want to talk about the villains, I know that Nate had a take on one of our episodes.
Like, if I'm talking specifically villains, I like seeing Doc Ock more than I like seeing Willem Dafoe.
He's a fucking Power Rangers villain in the middle of a blockbuster.
The whole movie was a Power Ranger. Are you kidding me? He's out of place.
However, I don't think that you can aim that same kind of criticism at Alfred Molina's turn as Doc Ock. Yes, it is still that like outlandish comic book style that the Raimi Spider-Man movies always did so well.
All right, Alden. What is your number 6 pick?
I feel like this one's kind of interesting, but John Wick Chapter 2. It's definitely the best choreographed action movie of its type.
Well, there's the Raid 2, but yeah.
I'm going to go with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. As somebody who very recently got into the Indiana Jones movies, I feel like the first movie, Raiders, I thought it was good. I thought it was really fun, but it didn't really have me needing to seek out the sequels. And Temple of Doom was Temple of Doom, but then I finally got to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and this movie felt like what I had thought Indiana Jones was, like just hearing about him.
Very similar to Godfather 2 to me in terms of the structure, so I think it's a good pick. Alden, with your number 7 draft pick.
My next up is Toy Story 3.
Weird flex, but okay.
The passing off of Andy's toys was a great way to finish it, even though they didn't. When I first saw it, I hadn't watched the other two a bunch of times like most people probably did. I didn't have a childhood that was filled with Toy Story, so I had only seen the first two a couple times. And seeing the third one, I really enjoyed it.
All right, my number 7 I'm going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Just the father-son dynamic that we get in this movie is unparalleled by anything in the MCU, which is a little insane when you think about one of the biggest character connections that they made after they introduced Spider-Man was Tony Stark and Spider-Man's pseudo father-son relationship.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
We got a better father-son story between Star-Lord and Yondu than we ever got between Tony Stark and Spider-Man, even though they'd been hyping that relationship up over the course of 4 or 5 movies.
Alden, when you're ready with your number 8.
So my next up is Addams Family Values. I just think that this one is definitely more memorable. The summer camp scenes were pretty funny, not gonna lie. And just Fester through the whole thing was also really funny.
All right, Jory, to you with the number 8 draft pick.
My number 8 is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
There it is.
Harry Potter is one of my favorite franchises. It's one of the first things that I remember being passionate about when I was a kid. And Prisoner of Azkaban is the perennial entry in that series.
I had Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire back to back, so my next one is Goblet of Fire.
I saw it going down this way. I just didn't know who was picking which.
I'm gonna be honest, I put Prisoner of Azkaban above Goblet of Fire. I think it's a better movie.
Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
He asked calmly.
Jory with number 9.
Number 9. I'm gonna go with Superman 2. We really slept on this entry when we were doing our DC list. I certainly feel that Superman 2 is a better movie all around. Just Superman 2 as a movie, everything about it is so iconic, much better than the original. And I think that for its importance to movie history, I have to place it in the top 10.
Better than Man of Steel.
I feel like most Superman movies are better than Man of Steel.
Superman 2 is the best Superman movie. All right, Alden, with your number 10.
You ready for a hot take?
Let's get ready to hot take.
Hot take. The Force Awakens.
You're going to win Josh over with that one.
Better than the original, as in better than A New Hope?
Oh, without a doubt. They have a lot to build upon with it. And then they introduce basically a completely new cast. And then they kill off Han Solo. That's the one part that's not better than the original, but whatever.
Really? I think that's the one part that might be better.
I just wish it was not Kylo Ren killing him. I guess there's not really an alternative I'd propose.
Jory, to you with number 10. Ice Age The Meltdown.
Please.
This
is a tough one.
Global warming.
It's in my list.
Here's a signature take of mine that's got to come up. I got to put this in the top 10. X-Men Days of Future Past.
If Alden took Days of Future Past, that would have been so funny.
X-Men Days of Future Past is my personal favorite X-Men movie that I have famously gone on record as saying it is the best superhero movie. I still believe that. I love X-Men Days of Future Past so much. And nobody fucking point out that there are other superhero movies that are higher on my list, or else I'll beat the shit out of you.
Wait, I have a question, Jory.
Yeah.
If you think this is the greatest superhero movie of all time, why was it drafted after Spider-Man 2?
The reason being is because I was kind of trying to play the meta a little bit. X-Men Days of Future Past would have been a lot higher for me, but I know that it would have been a hard sell for everybody else if I was like, all right, Godfather Part 2, third, X-Men Days of Future Past.
Alden, to you with number 11.
I'm house sitting for 4 cats, and I'm allergic to cats, so I'm just a mess right now.
Why are you doing that?
I have 2 cats of my own as well.
So why is Cats your number 11?
Star Trek, Wrath of Khan.
Good fucking choice.
Both teams, I think, were missing in the top 10.
Wrath of Khan is really good. It just doesn't even compare to the original of this series.
So I haven't actually watched Wrath of Khan, but I fell asleep during the original, and I feel like anything's better than that.
I would recommend that you watch it, because I really like this one.
I absolutely love Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, and I agree with you, Alden, that it expanded upon and just did what Star Trek the movie was supposed to do.
I have no idea what they were doing in the original. It just didn't feel like a good Star Trek at all. Was this in our sci-fi bracket?
It was, and I got it to Elite 8, even though no one else had seen it.
So, if you haven't seen that, I did say that my friend's brother watched this movie 17 times in theaters. And he's not a Star Trek fan, but he took every single one of his friends to see this movie. I mean, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is just casting from Sherlock.
Wait, are you talking about Star Trek Into Darkness?
No?
Benedict Cumberbatch was not an actor when Star Trek II Wrath of Khan came out.
Have you seen Wrath of Khan?
Jory, what's your number 11?
All right, this has been sitting here for a while. I'm going to go with Empire Strikes Back.
Thank God.
A lot of sequels have begun to do, like, post-Empire, which is leave the story on, like, a down and out place in the second act. Because at the end of Empire Strikes Back, the heroes just lose. Like, nobody is really in a good spot at the end of this movie. The Empire kind of succeeds in their strike, and it's not until Return of the Jedi where they kind of, like, reconvene, and then they're like, all right, fuck games and fuck gamers.
Yeah, they bounce back with the help of the Viet Cong. I mean, Ewoks.
Yes.
When a sequel comes out that people really like, what's the first thing they say?
The empire of this franchise, yeah.
I feel like it just has to be on this list.
All right, Alden, what's your number 12?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I respect this pick.
I don't even know the first one's like name.
National Lampoon's Vacation.
Put John Candy at gunpoint and ride all the rides anyway. It's like people going to Disney World in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Except instead of putting John Candy at gunpoint, they're putting the nation's safety.
I don't like it at all. Christmas Vacation is a Christmas classic. You have the whole family show up. You have the power grid literally shut down when he plugs the lights in. It's just kind of the clichéness of all of it is really well done.
I definitely think it's the Shrek 2 of the National Lampoon's franchise.
I guess.
All right, my number 12 is going to be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I really wish Josh had watched it because I know that this would be like one of his like sleeper hit movies on here.
When we rank the Planet of the Apes movies, that's when I'll finally watch them.
My next up is Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Ooh, spicy.
Is it spicy?
I almost didn't want to put it on this list.
Yeah, I think it's pretty spicy. I think it's definitely the best Die Hard sequel, but I don't think it's better than the original.
Die Hard is just such a classic that its sequels don't compete very well, but I prefer to watch With a Vengeance.
Is there any particular sequence in With a Vengeance that you enjoy? Any one moment that makes you laugh, perhaps with a character standing wearing a sign? What does the sign say, Alden? Alden, what's the sign say?
It's an anagram of ginger. It was a weird setup, but they got out of it all right. So I don't know. I like that part.
It wasn't even originally slated as a Die Hard movie. It was supposed to be a Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson buddy cop movie called Simon Says. This is really one of the last times Bruce Willis tried with a movie, and I think it really, really works.
This is really the last time Bruce Willis had a good idea.
Interesting.
Until he said yes to Over the Hedge, and as we all know, the rest is history. My number 13 is How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Nice.
Have you seen this one?
No.
Are you pandering to me?
Yes.
Are you Kung Fu Panda-ing me?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Number 14, Alden.
I don't know. I think Iron Man 3. In regards to the awkwardness that was the first Iron Man, this one is just better put together.
How do you think of it in comparison to the second Iron Man, Alden?
I think it's better than the second Iron Man, but I like Iron Man 2 better.
Done with MCU movies. The world has evolved beyond the need for MCU movies. That's why I need to place Captain America the Winter Soldier here.
Jory, the man who has said Captain America the First Avenger is the greatest Marvel movie, just drafted the Winter Soldier.
Yes, I did, at number 14 nonetheless. I know that I have a lot of esteem for this.
So why is it better than the first Avenger?
It's better than the first Avenger in quite a few ways. I think that Bucky as the Winter Soldier and Hydra as an organization are greater antagonistic threats in the Winter Soldier than Hydra at least was in Captain America 1.
I'm picking Kung Fu Panda 2. Just the opening scene alone for a kid's movie is better than the first one. And I love the first one. Obviously, the animation is better. I think the budget was much higher. And the characters are better done.
Imagine watching a DreamWorks movie.
Some of us don't have to, Josh.
Yeah, I am wrong, Nate. I'm staring at two movies that haven't been drafted, and I'm like, what? Nobody has brought these up.
Are you talking about Ice Age the Meltdown?
No, they're not talking about Ice Age the Meltdown. X2 X-Men United is my number 15. It wasn't one of them? God damn it.
All right, so why is X-Men 2, X-Men United, your 15th sequel better than the original?
Because Frasier is in it and he's blue.
All right.
My next up is Star Trek Beyond.
You sure you want to talk about Star Trek movies again?
I know which one this is. Is it not? There hasn't been one after Beyond, has there?
Most recent one.
Then yes, I know which one we're talking about.
I just spied a movie that I couldn't believe that I let fall by the wayside for this long. My number 16 has got to be Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior.
All right. Why is Mad Max 2 Road Warrior better than Mad Max original?
Mad Max 2, wild shit. Like the entire, everywhere that we see is a desert. You've got these crazy, like leather fetish football gear dudes running around and like raping women. Like Mad Max just comes in with his dog that's gonna like blow somebody's head off with a shotgun. Like Mad Max 2 is fucking crazy compared to Mad Max 1. Like the jump from Mad Max 1 to Mad Max 2 is almost as insane as the jump between Mad Max 2 and Mad Max 4.
Alden, what's your number 17?
Jurassic World. The previous movies, they all have their own iconic scenes. They really set up everything for Jurassic World to succeed. But Jurassic World takes what they built and expands a bit further. They reestablish everything with pretty much a completely different cast.
My number 17 is going to be Evil Dead 2.
Awesome choice. Why do you like Evil Dead 2 more than the original?
The second one is the best, in my opinion, the absolute best horror comedy movie that we've ever gotten. And it's really interesting to track the progression throughout that series to see Evil Dead 1, then Evil Dead 2, and then Army of Darkness. It's kind of like a slider where you have horror on one side and comedy on the other. Evil Dead 1 is all the way on the horror side. Evil Dead 2 is like right in the middle, and then Army of Darkness is just like so fucking wacky that you can't call it anything but a comedy.
Neither of you guys have said the two movies I think is totally missing.
Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Okay. Why is it better than The International Man of Mystery?
Can I get rid of this one and put in Goldmember instead?
You think Goldmember is better than the original? I want to hear why.
Foxy Cleopatra.
Yeah, actually, I think that's Beyonce's only good movie role.
I agree.
Let me see what Beyonce's been in.
She was a writer for 3 episodes of Drag Race Thailand.
All right. I don't really care that much. Jory, what's your number 18?
I think I'm going to put Kill Bill Volume 2 at my number 18.
And why is it better than the first half?
This is a personal thing for me. I do kind of believe that Volume 2 is better than Volume 1, but the Pai Mei sequences where we see her getting trained, I think are fantastic. I think that everything that we see of Beatrix and Bill, like before, like when she was still training, is great. It's almost like the relationship between John Wick 1 and John Wick 2, where John Wick 1, you kind of like get the idea that there's this greater world of assassins and that like all of this stuff is just going on and you got to accept it. And then in the sequel, you get to see the function of that and see like how these people actually interact with each other.
I'm going to say Deadpool 2.
Oh my God.
Not Cars 3.
I would say Cable is a much better antagonist.
Is Cable the antagonist of that movie?
And I think his name is Russell, right?
Yeah.
The way that his character is played and is used for the story is done pretty well, and I think picks up the movie beyond what the first one was able to do.
You know what? I'm going to pick a meta pick. I'm going to pick Neighbors 2.
Okay, why is Neighbors 2 better than the first one?
You know, Chloe Grace Moretz is in it.
Alden, your final pick here. There's tons of movies left. Which is your last lock, your last movie in your top?
I just want to ask you guys real quick. Are the 2 movies that you were talking about before still here?
Yes.
All I'm saying is I just sent Nate a Snapchat of 3 glaring movies, and I think he agreed they should have been taken in this list. So these last picks are extremely important, I think, when it comes to judging.
Yeah, but then there's also the good chance that we don't pick any of them.
There is.
There is.
I'm not going to pick an MCU movie.
Good.
I'm going to say Tron Legacy.
There you go. You picked one of the ones.
That was going to be my last one.
So, Alden, why is Tron Legacy a better movie than the original Tron?
This is so fucking easy.
Yeah, the original Tron sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Like, the original is absolute garbage, and it makes Tron Legacy look like the top 10 movies of all time.
When I think of movies that are better than the original, Tron Legacy is one of the first movies that I think I would think of.
I hesitated in picking it for so long, though, specifically because I really don't think it's better than a lot of these other movies.
Jory, what's your final pick? The last pick.
All right, fuck it. Men in Black 3.
You're not playing the meta there.
I like it a lot when the original cast goes back in time and visits like a new take on the same characters. And I feel like Josh Brolin does a really good job as Kay, and the relationship between him and Will Smith is handled really well. You see some of those little moments of like heart and character moments in the original Men in Black, like when Kay leaves at the end and goes back to be with the woman that he loves. Nothing really to that same extent that we see in Men in Black 3.
I agree that Men in Black 3 is the best Men in Black movie, which I know is really a hot take. I'll read Alden's then.
Thank you.
Number 20, Tron Legacy. Number 19, Deadpool 2. Number 18, Goldmember. Number 17, Jurassic World. Number 16, Star Trek Beyond. Number 15, Kung Fu Panda 2. Number 14, Iron Man 3. Number 13, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Number 12, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Number 11, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. Number 10, Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Number 9, Goblet of Fire. Number 8, Addams Family Values. Number 7, Toy Story 3. Number 6, John Wick Chapter 2. Number 5, Batman Returns. Number 4, Skyfall. Number 3, Mad Max, Fury Road. Number 2, The Dark Knight. And number 1, Shrek 2. Jory, what is your list?
Number 20, Men in Black 3. Number 19, Neighbors 2. Number 18, Kill Bill 2. Number 17, Evil Dead 2. Number 16, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. Number 15, X2, X-Men United. Number 14, Captain America, The Winter Soldier. Number 13, How to Train Your Dragon 2. Number 12, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Number 11, The Empire Strikes Back. Number 10, X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 9, Superman 2. Number 8, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Number 6, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Number 5, Spider-Man 2. Number 4, Blade Runner 2049. Number 3, T2 Judgment Day. Number 2, The Godfather Part 2. And number 1, Toy Story 2.
I thought that Jory had a far superior top 10. I think it's almost like he was making this list without a competitor. I think all 10 movies in the top 10 are interesting, good takes for sequels better than the original. Whereas Alden's list, I felt was a little bit more of a mixed bag, but there were more hot takes and less safe choices, like ones that I really appreciate. I think putting things like Batman Returns really high up there, John Wick Chapter 2, Mad Max Fury Road, things that might not agree with everyone is really solid. I'm actually kind of stuck here between which list I like more.
I agree too. I think Jory had a really strong top 10, but then after Empire Strikes Back for Jory, things started to get a little weird for me. Alden was really good at picking sleeper picks, but then I also feel like he picks some of those sleeper picks too early. They're both good lists.
We can't have a tie here. Going blow for blow. Who do you think did it better?
Blow for blow. A lot of this is coming down to, on Jory's list, there's some movies that he picked that are connected to other franchises that Alden picked, and how I'm looking at it is he picked the better ones. That top 10 list is so strong, even if the bottom 5 I don't think are very good. Overall, I got to give Jory the point here.
I think if it were going top 10 versus bottom 10, I think Alden's list is more consistent all the way through. Picks like Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, even though he didn't know what movie it was, and Star Trek Beyond, like really kind of elevate that bottom 10 for me, because those are movies that I thought could have been cases for top 10, whereas Jory just, I mean, dude, the top like 15 on Jory's list is stacked. I 100% agree with her here as well.
That's a dub.
This was a close game though for a first draft.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Duel of the Takes. Be sure to tune in next week to see who Jory is taking on in the finals. Josh and Nate will be debating coming-of-age sports movies. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you like the show, you can support us by following our podcast on any platform you listen to podcasts. Currently, over 50% of our viewers aren't subscribed, so please, subscribe if you haven't already.